Tell me a little bit about the current situation, which is very time sensitive. Rodney Reed and 14 days and counting
Yeah,
until he's supposed to be.
it's a horrible situation, man. There's a man in Texas, outside of Austin, in a town called Bastrop, 30 miles to the east of Austin, who's been in prison for almost 23 years.
Man.
And in 1996, there was a young woman named Stacy Stites who was sexually assaulted and murdered. Horrible. And I just want to put that out there. Like, her family suffered tremendously from this loss. And right away, people believed that it was her fiance, who was a brutal man known for domestic violence. And he was a police officer named Jimmy Fennell. And he was the primary suspect. And nearly a year after Stacey Stites was killed, Jimmy Fennell instead was no longer the suspect, and they arrested Rodney Reed. There was no proof that he had anything to do with her murder whatsoever. And if you've ever read the book or here in New York seen the play To Kill a Mockingbird, it's kind of the same story of a white woman who is brutalized by a white man, but a black man takes the fall. And for 22 plus years, Rodney Reed has declared his innocence. And there's so much evidence that exonerates him that the Innocence Project, who's probably the most prestigious organization involved in this, they turn down 95% of the cases that come their way. When they take on a case, they know a man is not guilty. And typically they have DNA evidence to exonerate that man. So the Innocence Project is on the case. It sounds funny, but Dr. Phil McGraw, Dr. Phil is on it.
That's what I saw, yeah.
And Dr. Phil did 2 whole episodes on it. Dr. Phil has declared that he also believes Rodney Reed is completely innocent and had nothing to do with this. There are some mechanisms that could potentially free Rodney Reed, or at least delay the execution. The governor of Texas, who's a deep conservative, has the power to stay the execution. There's a board of parole there that could also at least delay it or cancel the execution. His sentence could be commuted and he could just be given life in prison and then at least live to be able to fight through the appeals process. I think there's a high likelihood that Rodney Reed will be executed. And all of us are at the point at which we're 2 weeks away. Of course, there's a high likelihood. We're trying not to think about that, but it's an urgent situation. We've had over 1 million people sign a petition at freerodneyreed.com and trying to lobby people to intervene any way they can. But it's a...
Who needs to hear this for that to happen? It's more in Congress' hands now, right, you feel?
Well, it's not just Congress. It's 95% of all people who are convicted of crimes are convicted on the local and state level. And what that means is Congress and even the president have very little say in what they can do about those cases. So the president of the United States, be it Trump or Obama or anybody, they can pardon people who've been convicted of federal crimes. But in this case, Trump and Congress, the United States Congress, have very little say in how they can help Rodney Reed. It's almost all in the hands of officials there in Texas. Their governor, their state legislature could at least make a statement or do a vote, but even that wouldn't matter. A local district attorney there in the county could remove the death penalty and say, we're calling on the death penalty to be removed, and just remove it. So it's really in the hands of local conservatives in Texas. And in some ways that's scary because I don't have a lot of influence with conservatives in Texas. And yet that's who we need to influence. And so part of what we've tried to do is just make this story go viral. And so we've had people from Rihanna to both of you to other athletes and entertainers and supermodels. At the end of the day, conservatives have to care about it. And they've been saying for years that they care about criminal justice reform. And this is their opportunity to kind of prove it.